Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create a customized charm to put on a charm bracelet. Now we do have a number of different objects that we can create charms from. We've got this hexagonal one, we have an octagonal one, a round one, and there's also a square option. In this video I'm going to use the hexagonal skeletal charm. And what we're also going to do is we're going to use a Harrington font. So we're going to personalize this charm by adding a W to it, and I'm also going to add on an astrological pattern, and I'm going to use this Aquarius pattern. So I'm assuming that your name begins with W and that your birth sign is Aquarius. Now, as you can see, there are two different objects here for the Aquarius one. I'm going to use the one with the border around the outside, so I want 001A, not 001. So if I just go back, let me just do File and New, and just go back to Charms. I'm going to just drag and drop this object onto the workspace. So this is my sort of template file. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually use Save As, because we always recommend that you don't go to File and Save and write on top of the original template files. So I'm just going to go to File and Save As, go to the desktop, and I'm going to make a charm 3DP hexagonal skeleton. I'm going to add a W to it, and I'm going to add an Aquarius symbol as well. So I'm going to save that to the desktop as a Blender file. So what do we need to do to build this? Well, you can see there are some curves around the screen at the moment, and I know from experience that if I select the 10mm diameter curve with this particular object here, I want to put it into the center. A quick way of putting it in the center is to just snap the cursor. So go to Cursor, Snap Selection to Cursor, and that will put the object in the center of the screen. I want to put a couple of circles, or a couple of curves I should say, around the top and the bottom of this. So again, I think I need 7mm. We'll put it around the top. So I could go to Snap Selection to Cursor to put it in the middle, and to just drag it up to the very top there. So if I just go to View and Front and just check it's in the right location. Now I want the same curve at the bottom, so I'm just going to go to Tools, Object Tools, and duplicate this object, and I just press the Enter key on the keyboard and just drag that object down. So I've got a replica of the top and the bottom of my curve there. Now you can see I'm going to have to make some adjustments in a second, but now if you wanted to put some more curves around this, you could do. If you wanted to use square or hexagonal ones around, you could do. I'm going to stick to these circular ones. So what I want to do now is, if I hold down the Shift key and highlight these three circular curves and just go to Tools, Object Tools, just join them all into being one object. And then if I look at my struts here, my vertical struts, you can see over here that the cross section of those is 1 by 1. So the bevel object, the default setting is 1 by 1. So if I changed it, I could change the thickness of that, but I think you'll find sort of 1 by 1 is probably the best sort of size to work to. So I want to make this the same thickness, so I want the same bevel object 1 by 1. So that's creating my basic outline of my charm. Now I just need to sort of tidy it up because of the sizing that I've used and the curve that I've used. So I want to just tidy it up at the top and the middle and the bottom. So if I just go to View, and if I go to Right View, I'll just move the Properties panel out of the way. And if I just press the tab, I need to select the vertical struts, because I need to reposition the vertical struts a little bit better. They're sticking out a little bit too much on the inside there. So just view from the right. And if I press the tab key on the keyboard, you can see I go into edit mode. And so I want to reposition this strut here. Now at the moment, I am in Snap is on. but actually adjusting that's okay. So I've just moved that 1mm to the right, and you can see it's brought it inside the circle at the bottom, which is actually what I'm trying to do, to just make it neater. And I want to do the same with the strut at the top. Now this might go too far when I just move it 1mm. Yeah, you can see it's not quite in the right position there. I don't know, there's something odd going on here. We view it from the top. Oh no, they're all slightly off, you can see. That's because I've got the snap on there. So if I just go to view and right again, if I switch the snap off, and if I just zoom in, you can see I've got more control over the object now. So I want it to just go into the circle at the top there, so that it's inside it. Now that's better. Okay, so I've got a much tidier surface there. Yeah, so that's okay. So it's like the bottom one. Yep. Now the center one, I could adjust this. I could just move it in slightly so that it's just inside. And so you've got it coming out on the inside, but you've got a smoother finish on the outside. Now how you choose to do that is up to you, but you will probably have to make that adjustment depending upon what objects you place around. You know, different shapes, different sizes, you're just going to have to modify it slightly. So there's the basic outline of our charm. Now I could have actually created a different diameter on the top here than the default size. The default size, you'll notice if I measure it, is 6mm. If you desperately want this as 5 or 4mm, you could change the let me just open up the properties panel again. You could have changed the bevel object here on the ends and made them slightly different, so you could have done 1x2. That would have given you a different circle at the top and the bottom. I've left them at 6. So you could have controlled that. Now what I want to do is to add some patterns on the outside of this charm. So I'm going to add a W, and remember it was in the Harrington fonts folder, so I want to add a W from this folder. So I need to append it. So if I go to File and Append, and I'll just go to Bracelets first of all. So I'm in Groups Bracelets. I need to go to Harrington Font, so I just go up through the menu system. So once you get to the Groups folder here, you can see all the folders that are available on your system and all the patterns that are available. I want a Harrington Font, and I'm going to use Harrington Font W, and we always append the objects. So it's the Harrington Font W object, and I just append that from the library, and that will bring the W in. Now I need to make sure that I select it, so I just click on the W there. Now the first thing I want to do is to rotate it about the x-axis 90 degrees, so I can do that with a keyboard. I can do R, X and 90, so that brings it up like that, and I can just move the W forward, and then if I just go to View and Front View, now you can see it's clearly much too big. So with the W highlighted, if I just press the S key on the keyboard and just scale it down until you get to the sort of size that you want. Now always remember, when you scaling curves, you must always do Control A and apply the scale, and notice the thickness of the object changes, so it doesn't look quite so attractive now. But if I just go to View and Front View, and I'm just going to kind of position it in the center there. Now with the W highlighted, I'm just going to press the Tab key on the keyboard to go into edit mode. So what I could do is, if I hold down the Shift key and highlight some control points, I can just move, oops, I missed one. It's 4 down there. So if I just move that out, I still didn't get that one. Just move that out there, you can see I can open up the W. and I'll do the same on the other side. So this just opens up the W. I could move it upwards as well a little bit, and you'll notice there's a little bit of overlap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight those 4 control points there and just delete them. So X on the keyboard to delete. If I wanted to move this up, I could do. So this is just enhancing the appearance of the W. So it's already created for you, but obviously when you scale it small like this, you are going to sometimes have to adjust it. Now if you wanted to change the thickness of this W, that's straightforward. You just go to the Properties panel. We've got 1 by 2 as the cross section here, so we could change it to 1 by 1, and then you could look at positioning it again. Now you do obviously need to have some overlap, and try and position it so that it is on the inside of the strut there, of the charm. Yeah, that looks okay. So now what we want to do is add the Aquarius symbol. So I go to File. Well, it's actually in the pattern folder under Astrological Symbols. But again, you don't want to drag and drop this onto the workspace. You need to append it. So if we go to File and Append, just go up through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder. And we're looking for astrological patterns, and there are 2 Aquarius patterns. You want 1A, or I want 1A, and I always want the object, so it's Aquarius pattern 001A, because that's the one with the square section around it, as you can see. So if you select the wrong one, just go back and get the one with the square around it. So again, I want to rotate this about the x-axis, so RX90. Now I'm going to have to put this on the back face, so I'll just drag it out there first of all, and if I go to View and view it from the back. Now you do need to be a little bit careful with these patterns. We are looking at the back of this Aquarius pattern, so you do need to do R and Z and 180 degrees to rotate the pattern around. So that's the front of the Aquarius pattern. So do be careful that you, when you do append these objects and reposition them, be careful that you are looking at the front of the actual object. So if I just go into the views there, and if I now scale this down, and I'll scale it down so that it's about the same size as the W, matches the W at the back. And always remember to do Control A and apply the scale. And I can change the thickness of this again. I can change this down to 1 by 1. And I now need to sort of move it in so that it's overlapping with the charm itself. So I'll just position it there like that. And that's it. So I've added 2 patterns. Now there's nothing to stop you adding more patterns. You do need to be a little bit careful. Don't have far too many patterns and overlapping as well, because you could end up with issues in that it won't print. But yeah, that's looking okay at the moment. So what I would do now, because we previously saved this to the desktop, I would go to File and Save now, and I would not save this again. I would keep this as curves on your basic file, because you can always go back to the curves and make some changes if things don't work properly. But what we need to do now is to change these objects to meshes and join them together. So I just go to Tools, Object Tools, convert that Aquarius to a mesh. Select the W, Tools, Object Tools, convert that to a mesh. And Tools, Object Tools, and convert the rings to a mesh. And Tools, Object Tools, and convert the vertical struts to a mesh. Now I want to join them all together. So I'm going to highlight the Aquarius, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, highlight the W and highlight the top rings, and join those three objects together, which I've added, and then I'm just going to hold down the shift key and highlight the vertical struts and join together. So we've now just got one object. Now try and remember not to go to file and save now, because you'll end up with a mesh on your system rather than a curve file. Just go to file and export, and I'm going to export it as an STL file, and I want to export it to the desktop. So it's a charm, it's 3DP hexagonal skeleton charm with a W and an Aquarius, so I export that as an STL file. And what you then need to do once you've exported it is to go to NetFab Basic. So if I just load NetFab Basic, you just go to Project and Open, and go to the desktop, open the W Aquarius file. Probably some slight problems, so you've got a warning triangle here, but don't panic. Just hit the repair procedure. Let's just click update and see what's wrong. Well, there's a few border edge problems. I mean, it says 576, but it is a few, and a few holes. So if we just hit automatic repair and execute, NetFab will repair those holes and border edge problems. They're not usually issue. It's invalid. If you get invalid orientation, that's where you need to worry. So apply the repair and remove the old part. So that's looking okay, but we still need to save it again. So go to Part and export it as an STL file. And I just like to save it on top of the original one. I don't bother with a second one. And you may at this stage get another error message, but you can clean that up as well. So there's the Aquarius and W pattern applied to a charm, and in this case it's the hexagonal style, but you know, you can create any charm that you want, add any patterns that you want. Procedure's the same for all of them. So that's it for this video. Good luck. Thank you.